Hello, fellow Hunters of the Blue, and welcome to my channel, and also welcome to my living room, because this is the only place in the house where these absolute behemoths fit. And in this video, I'm going to guide you through the whole process of 3D printing your miniatures, washing them and curing them, thanks to today's video sponsor, Phrozen, which provided the Mega S 8K, the Mega S Wash, and the Mega S Cure. So, let's get cracking. 3D printing not that long ago was a quite niche subject, but today is the bread and butter of the hobby. We even got some sneaky 3D prints in Golden Demon, and in this video I hope to guide you in the process with what I hope is a very beginner-friendly video. And I'm going to guide you through the whole process, including supports, downloading file, including placing supports, software, and obviously 3D printing the models. We are also going to examine a couple of claims Phrozen makes with this printer. One of them is that the bed comes pre-calibrated from the factory. We will see if that is true and how that works. And we will also cure them and wash them with these incredible pieces of kit. But first of all, let's go into the software, and we're going to download some busts, because I was kindly donated a series of busts from Bust Workshop. I will leave a link to them in the description. So I'm going to download those models. I'm going to just throw them into the software, and instead of trying to calibrate my printer, I'm going to see if the pre-made profiles work well, if they produce good results, because if they do, this can very much be a plug-and-play hobby. So we log into Chitubox. This is Chitubox Pro version 2.0. You get 3 months of free license when you purchase your printer, and a nice discount if you want to keep on using the Pro version of Chitubox, which is pretty nice. The first thing we have to do is select our printer. I have already mine selected. You can see here at the bottom, Phrozen Sonic Mega 8KS, but you can add more printers. Just select one from your favorite company, and you have a selection of printers to choose from, which is very nice. Once we have our printers selected, we can start adding our files here. Let me drag the bust from the Bust Workshop. You can rotate the models, you can do a lot of stuff, and I'm going to add my own model, and you can also see it's obviously not supported as the others, so we have to fix that. The first thing I usually do is orientate the model. I want this sword especially to be as vertical as possible, because that way I won't have to support it, and that's always a good thing. The less supports you add, the better. So I can just click on rotate and select the angle. For me, that is probably good enough. And now we have to add supports, because obviously it doesn't have any. And I am going to just go to add auto support. I'm not going to do anything. I want to experience this as someone that has never done this, has no idea how to do this, and is just trusting the program. For me, I'm just going to click add auto support. There you go. I think you just go to prepare. Let's click here, and it's slicing the model. Let me save this, which is done again with a big blue button, and I will catch you printing the models. First thing we should do when we have a new 3D printer is to make sure the screen is working well. For that, we just have to unscrew the bat from the printer, or not screw it in the first place. You know, I was excited. And then we have to go into the tool menu and click LCD test. You should see a clear pattern on this screen. We are good to go. We have to make sure we screw the bat again very tightly. We don't want any play in it, because we don't want the bat to move up and down as the layers try to peel off. Then we shake our resin very well and we pour it into the vat. For this such a large vat, I'm going to use the full bottle of resin. once that's done, it's very important that we don't overfill our resin vat over the max line at the back. If we do, it will overflow and destroy your printer. Now it's just a matter of closing the lid, plug in the USB flash drive, tap on 3D print, select the file, click go, and the wait of 15 hours begins. Hello and welcome to another day. As you can see, the print is finished, and what you can't see from there, but will become apparent very soon, is that one of the busts have failed. But I'm pretty happy that happened. It wasn't intended or anything, but it will give us an opportunity to teach you how to properly clean your vat and how to filter your resin. But now, before we do all of that, all we have to do is drain the most of the resin possible, and for the most part that is just done by tilting this build plate and letting it drip. As you can see, the resin is now dripping from the build plate into the lower container, which will have two effects. One, we're going to save on resin, which is very important, because resin is quite expensive, and with such a massive build plate, if we leave this like that without draining it, we're going to waste a lot. And second, it's going to make the cleaning process faster and the alcohol last for way longer. While the building plate drips away, let me talk to you about the next step, which is going to be cleaning up our models. First of all, we use isopropanol alcohol to clean our 3D prints, but there are also some water-soluble resins you can use, which you just need warm water and they will clean away. But have in mind that just because the resin is soluble in water, it doesn't mean it can be disposed through our sink. The resin is still toxic, and I highly suggest you contact your local authorities on how you can get rid of resin safely for the environment, but also safely for yourself, because it can really create a mess in your pipes. Of course, thanks to our sponsor Phrozen, we are going to use the Mega S wash, but you don't need that if you can afford it. Just two simple plastic containers. I have them here. One is labeled dirty and one is labeled clean. You can do the same process very efficiently. We start with the dirty container. We put our prints there just after they come out of the printer. Leave them there for 10 minutes just to get rid of the biggest chunk of the liquid resin still uncured. And then once that is done, we chuck them into the clean container, where we just leave them there for another 15-20 minutes just to get rid of the final last bits. After that, we just leave them to fully dry on open air, and once they're dry, we can start curing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let that drip away, and we will talk about the Mega S wash. As you can see, I have 11 liters of alcohol loaded in here, and it doesn't really reach the level it should. It should be at the same level as the build plate. I'm going to have to go and buy more alcohol, but it doesn't matter for the purposes of this demonstration. This is just a beast that I can fit the whole build plate of the Mega S in it without having to remove the models, and will ensure a cleaner and safer work environment later, because I won't have leaky and drippy resin all over my counters and all over my working surfaces. Just alcohol, which is not necessarily good, but it's much better than resin. So it's pretty easy to use. It has two settings, low and high. And when you decide which setting you want, you just press the wheel and it lets you select a time in minutes. I think I'm going to go with 10 minutes. And the motor starts to pull up and it will start to move the resin around, cleaning everything up. It's pretty amazing. Well, I couldn't find any isopropyl or alcohol near me, so what I'm going to do is remove the models from the build plate and place them in the basket provided, which is fully submerged. It's very important that for this process you use gloves because, well, this is toxic material we're dealing with, so better be safe than sorry. We're going to use the spatula provided in the printer, but obviously any spatula will do. This is just labeled with the Phrozen logo, which is cool, I guess. I can like it. I'm just going to introduce the spatula between the prints and the build plate, and it just pops off very easily. There you go. There you go. There you go. Even the super massive models, they just pop up without any problems. There you go. Piece of cake. And run the timer again. So we have our models here just out of the alcohol, and it's pretty clear this one failed spectacularly. You saw it there. And I'm going to just remove the supports just to see how well they move, and you see pieces just fell off of it. So that's a fail, but the rest of the models look absolutely perfect. And we need to cure them now. Resin needs to be cured with ultraviolet light, and even if that was used in the printing process, there is still a little bit of semi-cured resin on the outside, and we really need to get rid of that, and we use a UV light to do that. I'm going to use this fancy Mega S Cure chamber, but they are cheaper. But any ultraviolet light will do the job just fine, or just leaving them out in the sun. You can remove supports very carefully if you want, but what I like, especially for pre-supported models, is to see how good job the team creating them did to remove the supports and how much of a residue they leave behind when you do it, just junking them out. I really like to be nasty with them, just, because I want to put myself in the worst case scenario. The final step is just to put our models in the rotating plate in the curing chamber. This massive curing chamber has like a rack on top, but my models fit on the rotating table and I do prefer that. And after that we just click Fan and Cure, click Go, and the process begins. So the prints are now curing in our Mega S Cure. It will take about 30 minutes. You can also program it to dry your 3D prints from the alcohol, which I didn't know. And you can set what time you want for each task. It will first dry and then cure. Since mine were already dried, because I didn't know it could do this, well, I'm just going to have to wait 30 minutes for the prints to cure. You can probably get away with less, but I don't mind. 30 minutes is fine by me, I'm not in a hurry. And I will catch you in my desk when the prints are finished to take a look at them. Let's look at the busts. Why don't we start with the successes and we will talk about the failure later. They are pretty big and the results are fantastic. This was the most difficult one to remove from the support. It has an intricate amount of support, which is good, I guess. That's precisely what you want for a better printing experience. But that means that because I just literally janked it off, there is a lot of this scratching. It's not bad. Once you prime it, this will disappear. But you would definitely want to remove the support more gently. And we did have a break because I was an absolute monster removing the support. There you are. But it's pretty easy to glue back together. And overall, I am going to use this bust. This looks amazing. Just tell me if you want to see a video about painting busts using these bust workshop busts. Let's talk about this one now, which is probably the one that came out the best by far. Again, a little bit of scratching on the inside because, again, it was pretty irresponsible. And here we have a little bit of this support residue, but it's very, very tiny. And the bust also looks pretty good. Was extremely easy to print and extremely easy to remove the support. They just all came out in one single piece, which honestly is what I prefer, because I have no patience to be removing supports carefully. There are a couple of supports here and there that are still there, but very easy to remove. This one was the one that I was afraid it wasn't going to print, because this is solid. This is a chunk of resin. It's massive, but no, it printed out perfect. It has a ton of supports, really small ones and here and there, that I don't think I can remove without using clippers. Those ones on the inside and stuff like that. But all in all, a fantastic bust. I think this bust also comes in separate pieces, so I would probably suggest you print those. This is a little bit of a extreme case, but look at how very little support marks we have here. Very small, very easy to sand out. So yeah, pretty good. This is the one that I imported and did the supports with auto supports. Just put the model in, orient it in a orientation that you think is good, and then just click auto support and print. That's it. So I'm very, very happy to see that this worked flawlessly, and it's probably one of the best prints I've had with this bust. This is not the final model. The sword is way too thin, as is the pin, which broke when I took out the supports, but that has been fixed now for the next batch of busts, and I'm quite surprised at how flexible this resin is. It's quite impressive. As for the software, the supports came out perfect. I mean, there is probably, if I would to tune this, I would put all of these supports that are on the actual surface of the body smaller. They are quite big. The connection points are way too big. You probably want those smaller. You want them big on the base to hold it, because to hold the model tightly, but then you want the smaller supports on the body, and those are maybe a little bit too big, but nothing that can be fixed with a little bit of sandpaper and a little bit of care. That's just part of the printing, and I think it looks great. Very, very, very happy. And let's talk about the failure, because this was spectacular. Look at that. That is incredible. Looks like she's been through the warp, and she didn't fare well. I have no idea what went wrong. My guess, it has nothing to do with the supports, and probably nothing to do with the printer. It's probably just an accumulation of things that went wrong at the same time and caused this. So I think we should end this here. Again, I will have a link to the bust workshop website, so if you want to buy some of these busts for yourself, you can do so. And thanks again for giving me these models for free. They haven't paid me, but they are free models, so I have to I have to acknowledge that. So this is the end of the only hands section of this video. Back to full-size me. So the prints are finished and cured, but we still have to deal with the issue of the failed print, because all of the pieces might have come out with the print, but they might have not. And we need to be sure, because you can really wreck your screen if you leave a cured piece of resin in there. So we need to do two things. First of all, I'm going to run a bath cleaning cycle. What it does is just cure the whole screen at once for some seconds, and then you can just peel it off. But there is a very common mistake people make, which is removing the vat and try to poke at the bottom of it with a finger to lift off the cured resin. You should never do that. What you should do is use this little trick. I'm going to use these supports here that I have already cured just to be safe and so I can touch them, and I'm going to stick them in the more or less the corners of the screen. I will use these pieces of extra material to lift off that cured resin layer. Perfect. Oh, so cool. So satisfying too. But I'm not the most clever person ever. Look at that beauty. Oh yeah. And I'm not sure if we had anything in the bottom of the mat, but if we have, we don't have now. Let me put on some gloves now, because we have to filter the resin in case there is some floating bits that didn't got caught in this cure. Catch you in a bit. We are back. I'm all gloved up so I don't mess anything up anymore. And I have also took the time to clean up all the mess that I made by not being prepared. I have some isopropyl alcohol inside of this spray bottle. Is one of the most useful things you can have to clean up your mess. It's very, very convenient. And what we're going to do is put the resin, the amount of resin that is still in the vat, inside of this bottle. It's the original bottle for the resin. And I'm going to use a funnel. I like these metal ones, they are sturdier and better to use. And one of these paint filters. You can just buy them as paint filters, I believe. And they come in different meshes, but for our purposes, basically anything will do. It has a little bit of mesh on the bottom that will filter out any chunks of uncured resin. So I'm just going to open this up and put the funnel in. And now we just have to unclamp this and pour it in through the pouring spout, which is on that side. Of course, the larger the resin vat is, the more challenging this task will be. The resin is now filtered off, and what's here looks absolutely impeccable and clean. There is no residues. So I just have to clean this little corner out to make sure we don't have any resin leaking onto the screen. We really, really don't want that. Now we put the vat back into the machine very carefully. We don't want to damage the plastic sheet. Honestly, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but if you don't do it, trust me, you are going to regret it. So I hope that was a useful and complete video for you. I really hope this video encouraged you to try 3D printing yourself. And thanks again to Phrozen for sponsoring this video. The Mega 8K-S is an absolute beast, and I'm really, really happy with how it performed and how it behaved. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! Now I just have to clean all of this mess up. But you know, that's the price you pay for having fun.